sounds like something that would happen in the 1800s, but you guys are talking about this happened.
Couldn't do anything, right? Like if I went to prom, I couldn't go to the after parties. I had to be home. If I was drinking, I mean, I made sure I drink at like 7 o'clock so I can be home at midnight.
Don't the Southern Baptists like have wild poisonous snakes in their...
That's totally different. Okay. That is not us. We're going to make some people mad. I'm not going to start guessing who that is.
Last night when we were having dinner, this thing about worms in your poop came up. And I think that I have worms in my poop. And then Anna was like, oh my gosh, I just got the test for that thing.
Wait, the girl at the other side of the table said the exact
There was-
same
She got the
thing.
parasite.
We literally found molded pizza underneath Ariana's bed last week because we had a murder mystery dinner at the house and the kids took pizza upstairs.
Teaching them like the American dream is possible, just like everybody else is playing. Like you could get to the point if you wanted a private jet, you just got to work really hard.
She's so pretty. Is she actually that successful?
I remember coming here and I was like, Mom, we're in the United States. Like you can't beat me. And she was like, I'll drag your ass across the border and beat you. I was like, okay, never mind.
I'm from Mississippi and your parents will beat you to death if you even look at them wrong. On today's episode, we have an amazing woman who is not your average CPA. She is definitely the coolest CPA we have ever met. She's so freaking smart and she specializes in accounting for real estate investors. So everyone I know in our industry uses her for their tax planning. She's also like one of the most beautiful businesswomen I ever see. You don't actually, you're like, she's so pretty. Is she actually that successful? We met at a conference a while ago and have been buddies ever since. So I'm so excited for y'all to hear from Miss Ana Klein today. Anna, welcome to the Unapologetically Me podcast.
You guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know. I'm excited that you're here.
Yes.
It's going to be so fun.
I feel like we've known each other, but we've never really, I've only met Heather in person, but you and I like talk back and forth, but like we never actually met in person. So I'm really excited.
I know. I feel like we vibe really well. We're like, I feel like I've known you forever and we can just like sit down and have a conversation and like feel like we've been friends forever.
I agree. And I love that.
Me too.
I
really
think
do
that's
cherish
how
that.
we became buddies because we were at this conference with a ton of mean girls and
no.
we ended up like eating all our meals together. Actually, I was sitting at a table by myself and Anna came up and sat next to me and she was like, I'm a speaker.
I was like, can I sit here? Like no one was talking to me, nothing. And then I was like, which is fine. Like, I think like we're old enough to be like, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But then I sat down, I'm like, okay, tell me about yourself, Heather. And she was so humble. And then I'm like, who is this girl? I was like, oh my gosh, she's such a badass. Then she told me about her kids and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it's so great to vibe with other women who are entrepreneurs and it doesn't happen very often. So I feel like when you find women like us, I really do cherish those relationships because you talk more than just business.
And what's interesting is I've noticed that the women who are entrepreneurs, like actual entrepreneurs, they aren't as judgmental as other women. For some reason, there's no like judgment when you're talking to them and you can talk about whatever. They do respond like, what? And then they have like a plan to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that's how our businesses work.
It's so nice to have a group of friends like you guys, seriously, because even when you go home, you don't have the same friends. Like you can't have the same conversations, right? And then when I come to these events where I talk to you guys, it's like, oh my gosh, like you can actually have raw, real conversations about everything. It doesn't just have to be business. Literally everything.
I laugh because our dinner last night was so crazy. But so as long as we've known each other, I don't actually know the story of how you started your accounting firm.
Okay, so I was working probably like a lot of entrepreneurs were working and they were so sick of doing the 9 to 5. I was like, I'm not going to come every single day and ask for permission to do something and have to drive here. So I was like, I got to do something else. This is not for me. But at the beginning, I was poor, so I couldn't like do anything. So I still had my job. And what I ended up doing was my dad is a partner at a grocery store back where I'm from. I'm from Wisconsin. And I was like, hey, do you think I can just print out business cards and just like stand out there and give my business cards? And he's like, sure. And I've been looking for these freaking business cards forever so I can like see like started from the bottom, you know, because it's a great moment because I literally would sit there after work from like 5 to 9 and hand out business cards to anyone that would take me. And it was nobody, right? Because everyone's like, who the heck is this girl sitting here? But social media wasn't so much like it is today. So anyways, eventually people started trusting me and I started growing my firm. And then I think during COVID, for a lot of people who do online business, I think it just took off because social media was huge and people started realizing that you don't have to have a CPA in your town, that you have to go to, that you can be anywhere, and still work with a CPA. So COVID really, really helped. And now social media and just word of mouth has really helped, get me where I am today.
So whether it's your accountant or your lawyer or your attorney or whatever the, I guess lawyer and attorney, same thing.
Yeah.
I'm an insurance agent. It's so much better to have those things as the niche that you're in, as opposed to like someone in your town that you know. Because where you specialize in real estate investing, all the strategies and planning that you do is so much better than just an accountant who knows accounting law. Tax law.
Yeah, I think I didn't realize that until like when I started just doing 1040s for everybody. I was like, whatever, whoever trusts me, I'm taking you, right? But then I realized, and this was like my epiphany moment, when real estate investors were paying less money in taxes than like my high net income earners. And I was like, how the heck are these people doing this? And then I realized that real estate is how people get wealthy and what the tax benefits it. So then you do have to find someone who is in the real estate niche, or if you're manufacturing, I have no idea what manufacturing is like, so I wouldn't work with someone that way, so it's like find someone in your niche, whether it's your attorney, whether it's your CPA. Everyone can be a realtor, but are they investors? Do they have the best interest in your values or whatever you're trying to do, your goals?
Yeah. I think one of the things that makes you, like at the very beginning of this, for like, Anna's not your average CPA. Like, why do we say that? It's because when we see you, and especially like on social media, you have like a ton of followers. Like most people would be like, she's a CPA. Like we think of CPA as kind of like, and this is not meant to be offensive at all, like a boring business, right? But like you don't make it boring. For one, like you explain it so well to where like people, like your average person can understand it, but also you're like the cool girl in school, like that you would like want to be friends with. And so I love that about you. What made you like get into that? Like, how did you even decide like, I want to be a CPA?
Well, thank you for that. That's really nice because I wasn't the cool girl in high school. Then I went to college and that was a different story. But I think I just want people
Wait, back up. What was different about college?
Oh, so my parents were really strict. I was born and raised in Mexico, and my parents, we were talking about this yesterday at dinner. My parents were so strict. I couldn't go out to dinner. I had to be home at like 10, right?
How old were you when you moved here?
14. Yeah. So then I went to this American new life of openness, of everyone sleeping over. And I was like, oh my God, everything's great. And I remember my mom, like she would beat us, right, if we didn't behave well in Mexico. And I think it's not normal, but that's just how it is back there. And I remember coming here and I was like, Mom, we're in the United States, like you can't beat me. And she was like, I'll drag your ass across the border and beat you. And I was like, okay, never mind.
Is that like a cultural thing?
No, I'm from Mississippi and your parents will beat you to death if you even look at them wrong.
Oh my God.
I think like this, what we're learning, because we were at dinner with a couple other people from different countries last night, the like way Southern people are raised are very similar to the way foreign people are raised. Like
very similar.
We start out super poor. Our parents are crazy strict and will literally beat the crap out of you.
Literally.
We even got, so I'm not super young, but I'm not like 70.
Right.
And we even got paddled in school. Like if you did something wrong in school, you would get sent to the principal's office and they had this long wooden paddle with holes in it so they could swing it faster. And that you would get so many licks depending on what you had done wrong. And I never came to school. I missed 100 days of 9th grade. And so
What? Why?
So I didn't want to go. I hated it.
I hated school
I
too.
hated school too.
And so
Wait, but
you
I
would get
didn't.
different numbers of licks with paddles.
That sounds like something that would happen in the 1800s, but you guys are talking about this happen. This
Yeah,
did not happen at
even
my
when-
school.
Okay. Well, we didn't get beat up. My mom would beat me with the belts.
mom?
Like,
Yeah,
oh
same.
yeah, all the time.
Mom or school,
Yeah.
wherever. My aunt, she'd beat us with the
My
hairbrush.
grandma, yeah.
And this
like-
was normal?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
your friends' parents did this too?
Yes, everyone
And
did.
to you, if you're at their
Yeah,
house acting bad.
absolutely.
No.
Yes.
Are you
Yes.
serious?
It was always like your voice didn't matter, and I'm not like poor pitiful me because I
No,
think
no, no.
I don't have kids, so I don't know what's gonna be like. But it's like
She's like, I'm gonna beat my kids
yeah,
too.
but now I don't know. I really don't know why. I mean, I think I turned out fine, but it was definitely very strict.
Well, my mom, though, is a grandma. Even if I like look at my kids wrong, it's like, Heather, don't you do that to them.
Oh,
I'm like, lady, what happened to you?
Do you remember what you did to me? Yeah,
And,
no,
and I'm being dramatic. It's not
Yes,
like
of
she
course.
did something to me, but they were very strict. And
very.
So you grew up in a very strict household.
Oh yeah, I mean, even to this day, my mom tries to like control my life. I'm like, woman, you don't even live in the same city as I
Dude,
do.
they're on Instagram doing this.
Yes, my mom is
got to make sure they're following
very
her.
dramatic. So anyways, I got to college, and I mean, in high school, I couldn't do anything, right? Like I couldn't go to, like if I went to prom, I couldn't go to the after parties. I had to be home. If I was drinking, I made sure I drink at like 7 o'clock so I can be home at midnight, right? So when I got to college, it was wild. I partied every single day. My roommate kicked me out. I went to the University of Madison, and it's like a really prestige school. Don't know how I got in. Like, for sure it was because I was Mexican, 100%. I did not have good enough grades. No idea how I got in. But 2 years later, I just partied too much, and my parents were like, "You're failing." Had the best 2 years of my life under my parents. So shout out to my parents for that. I graduated college with like a 2.4. I hated school. Like, I was like, this is not for me. So, but I knew I always wanted to be an accountant because my mom was an accountant in Mexico. And I was like, whatever, I'll just do it. But then I loved it. And I was like, and then when I got to learning what the tax code is, I was like, well, I want to be wealthy too. Like, I don't want to work for somebody. How am I going to do it just like the wealthy do it? So I think I have a passion for teaching people, especially like in my culture, it's like teaching them like the American dream is possible, just like everybody else is playing. Like, you could get to the point if you wanted a private job, you just got to work really hard for it, or whatever your goal is, right? You know, it can be done. So I'm like, I guess I'm just passionate about it, but also don't want to bore you with tax codes. Like, how boring is that?
When you own some real estate yourself.
Yes. So then I was like, wait, if they're doing it, I need to be doing it too. So I started buying properties back in Wisconsin. We just purchased a property management business in Dallas with a partner of mine. So now I'm just in, how do I continue to just grow my wealth for my kids one day?
Yeah.
Your future kids.
My future kids.
I love that.
But there's one thing that's interesting that just clicked to me, where we both had really strict parents. We're also like best friends with our moms now.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not like we think of our moms as like they were abusive. They were very much had our best interest at heart, and were trying really hard to raise us. And frankly, my mom being that way is what pushed me to be what I am now. The personality that she turned me into from her. Every time I would say I couldn't do something, she would say, "Don't say I can't, say I can and do it."
I love that.
Like, I think our moms behaving that way is what made us who we are.
100%. I mean, it's like so nice that you say that, because like everything I am today is because of my mom. I mean, she struggled so much, came to the United States, didn't have papers, was a bus girl, like at IHOP. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. So like yes, she was strict, but I would literally do anything for my mom. Yeah.
I love that. That's special.
Yeah.
So let's switch directions a little bit. When you and I first met, you were dating a guy, and we were talking, we had all of these like different topics that we were talking about with trying to find your next husband. And you've totally switched directions, and you and your boyfriend have moved in together.
Yeah, so I was married. I got married super young.
How young?
I met my ex when I was 21 after getting out of I've never really told anyone this, but like a abusive relationship. So I was like very vulnerable. So when this person came, they were 9 years older than me. So I was like, oh my God, this is it. But my parents were strict. So
even at that age?
Oh my gosh, I was 21. My mom's like, you can only
They're still strict.
They're still strict. She's like, you can only go out one day a weekend. I had to be home by 10. I was like, I'm 21. She's like, I don't care. So I moved out. So I was like, I moved out with my ex. So we got married when we was 23. We're together for 12 years. We had an affair with my best friend.
No.
Yes. So that was it. Like, I was like, that's the one thing I will never put up with. I mean, it was horrible. Thank God it happened though. Like today, I'm like, thank you, Jesus. And then I lived in Wisconsin, and I was like, hey, I'm moving. Like, I can't do this anymore. But I still then got another toxic relationship. That's when me and Heather met. But I've never had a healthy relationship. And I tell people this all the time. Like, even from my real dad, it was a toxic relationship. Like, all I've known in my life is unhealthy relationships. And they don't teach you how to have healthy relationships. So I was unhealthy until I met this boy in Dallas who is like the most American.
Okay, so but I don't know how we say this, but when I first met you, you were like, Heather, I only like black men.
100%.
And that's like all you were willing to date. And so when we talked,
that's so true.
And when we talked a couple weeks ago, you're like, he's like totally white. I'm like, what? I thought you told me you weren't even going to go out on a date with a white man.
I agree. I feel like my ex was American or white, and I was like, the culture difference is insane. I mean, we like to drink, we like to party, our family is number one. With my ex, who was a white, I couldn't. Like, it was so hard, you know. And I'm not saying
your
everyone.
Ex is your ex-husband.
My ex-husband, yeah.
Wait, was your ex-husband white?
Yes.
Okay.
So there was a lot that he wouldn't do just because our culture is so different. You know, I'll be like, when was the last time you spoke to your mom? And he'd be like, I don't know, 3 months ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Or like
she could be dead.
Yeah. I was like, we would have get-togethers all the time at our house. And it was like, wait, I just saw your family. So I understand our, Mexican culture.
Not all white people are like,
no, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not every. Yeah.
Because I'm white and I'm super close with my family. And I talk to my
that.
mom like 10
Sometimes
times
you
a
talk
day.
about being white and sometimes you talk about being Jewish. So do you think of yourself as white or Jewish?
I think that like people see me as a white girl, right? Because isn't Jewish like
who
white?
cares what they see you as? Like, do you think of yourself as?
So I'm
clearly in today's world, you can be whatever you want to be. So do you think?
So I always just thought like I'm white, but I guess I don't know. Is being Jewish not a white thing?
No.
But do you celebrate like?
I don't celebrate.
Okay.
So I'm Christian.
Oh, okay.
But and this is like something that we had a conversation about because I'm in Bible study. But then I was like in one of our podcasts, I was like, yeah, I'm Jewish, and I think she was so confused because.
But where I live in Boca, a huge percentage of the people are Jewish, and they
say I'm Jewish. They don't say I'm white or like because there's no like
because like no one's white in South Florida. Like they're like all these different Latin American countries,
but there's not like a Jewish check mark when you're like on the boxes. There's like Caucasian, white.
I think people just are starting to more be like I'm Mexican, I'm Jewish, like I'm Christian.
Yeah. Well, I'm Jewish like in my DNA.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like I don't practice the religion and I don't do like Hanukkah. Some of my
Jewish?
family
Your mom
does.
or dad?
My mom is like 100% Jewish.
And so does she practice that stuff? Did you grow up that way?
We grew up with a Christmas tree.
Okay.
So, but a lot of my family grew up with menorahs and they did. So like I grew up with kind of both, but I never like I never got like a bat mitzvah. I never did like the
so that's why you think you're white.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
But like if my 21andMe or whatever it is was like 50% Jewish, so that's when I say like I'm Jewish. It's just like in my DNA, I guess. But anyway, so that's why I was saying because like I'm really close with my family.
Okay.
But do you think that there's a lot of white people that are not?
Yes, and I think it's because just like the people I hang around with, like they're not, I'm like, what are you doing on Sunday? And it's for me, it's like, we're going to our parents for 6 hours. Like that's what we do. Right. Like, or like Mondays, even to this day, all my family lives in Mexico. Every Monday they go and have dinner at my grandma's. Like, that's just not how it is here, but it's nothing wrong with it. So it's like, I wanted the same culture.
Yeah.
And I will say that the African-American has the very similar culture. So I was like, that's it. Like, this is where I'm at. This is like, I love it. We love to dance. We love to party. We love to be with our family. So I was like, never again will I date a white guy. And Jesus had a different like path for me and introduced me to my boyfriend now. And he is literally the most country y'all lifestyle I've ever.
Where is he from?
He's from like a 2,000 person town in Texas. So when I first met him, he's like, he would call me mama. Oh. And I was like, wait, what? I was
wait, like, he said what? He calls you mama?
Mama, but I feel like that's a thing yeah. Or like his grandma, he would call him, oh my God, I can't think of the name that they call grandmas. But anyways, very totally different to me.
Mima.
Oh my gosh. Is that like a Midwest thing? Or like
I don't know.
It's country.
Like country.
Yeah.
Country as you can think.
And so when my mom became a grandma, because she's like, my mom has like the perfect hair and the perfect makeup every day. She's like totally put together. And so when she first became a grandmother, she didn't want to be called like grandma or granny. She was convinced we were going to call her Glamma. I'm like, we're not calling you Glamma. Okay. It's not happening.
Kris
if you don't
Jenner.
stop, I'm calling you Granny. Like, but the South seems to have more like super country sounding terms.
Yes. I mean, even your accent, you have a really thick accent. That's how his accent is. And he'll be like, it's 10 o'clock. I'm like, what? What time is it? 10? Like, English is my second language, but I'll say like 10. And I'm like, but anyways, it's the first healthy relationship after being in counseling for so long that I've ever had. I never thought that you could have like healthy communications with people, healthy arguments. It's totally wild. And when I would get like Latina attitude, he'd be like, no, I'm not putting up with it. He still puts up with it. But yeah, it's crazy. Like they don't teach us how to be in a healthy relationship.
That's so true. And most of us don't have good examples of that. And so one of my questions for you, with all the single guy friends that I have, they have these ridiculous standards for the women that they want to date. And it's not even that like they have to look perfect. It's just like weird stuff. Like we have this one guy friend who he's a successful guy, but he's insisting he wants to date a black woman with only natural hair. And he won't even like go on a date with a black woman that doesn't have natural hair. And the reason I'm saying this is since you had this really specific guy that you thought you were going after, how did you decide to like give your boyfriend a chance or like go on a date with somebody that was the opposite of what you thought you wanted?
Honestly, I think I've just like prayed about it so much. I've really like, and I've been on dates with all types, like people who make so much money to people who are just starting their business. And I think you get to a point, I think men are different than women. Well, no, I don't think they are, right? Where it's like, to me, that doesn't matter. I get to a point where it's like, I don't care about the money. I don't care about if they're like super like muscular or whatever your thing is, right? Like the hair, it's like, that's going to go away. Like,
or you're not even going to notice it in like 2 or 3 years.
No,
you're going to
like,
forget about it.
Exactly. So like, how do you feel? Like, what are you looking for that person to, you know, fulfill you that's not physical? Because all of this, all of the BBLs, all that everybody has is like, that's going to go away. And eventually you're going to lay next to a person and be like, wow, this person makes me happy, or this person, oh, that was a nice butt, or that was nice hair. It's like, that doesn't matter anymore. So I think you just got to change your mentality. But I do believe that social media is a downfall.
In what way?
Because I think, you know, you see all these women who, or men who look perfect, who are perfect, and they live a perfect life, and they have a perfect butt, and they have a perfect boobs and everything, right? So I think men and women are like, that's what I want. Wait, how do they look so good and they're wealthy? And it's like, I guess, I don't know.
It's similar to being at a conference like we're at now. You were talking about in your business, comparing yourself to other people. And I mean, it's not just social media. We're at a conference now, and you're talking about having some similar thoughts.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's just a human thing, right? Like, I think we all fall at fault for that. I think you always think that it's never good enough, or you're never doing good. I don't know. For me, like, just, I always talk about this, but it's like, I know you guys aren't very like religious. It's like, for me, like, I had a rough morning, because you do start comparing yourself to like, you're not doing well. Like, somebody else is always better than you. And I just realized that like, I'm supposed to be where I'm supposed to be, because like God brought me here, and like he has a plan for me. But not everyone's religious. So it's, I don't know. For me, it's always like, what God had a different plan of me dating somebody else. But I prayed for that person. Like, I literally was like, these are the top 3 things. And I would hear people say that. I'm like, these people are crazy. Like, how? Like, I was religious, but then I went through my divorce, and that's when it was really a dark time for me. And like, the only thing that saved me was honestly, I think God.
Are you Catholic or Christian?
So I'm Catholic, but then I learned, and my mom's gonna kill me for this. I'm like, we all believe in the same thing.
No,
Jesus.
we don't.
Well, okay, you don't praise like Mary as much as we do.
No, it's so different. So my dad is Catholic.
Okay.
And we grew up Southern Baptist.
Okay.
And I thought, oh my gosh, they're the same thing, because the same things you're saying right now.
Yeah.
Wait, don't the Southern Baptists like have wild poisonous snakes in their?
That's totally different. Okay. That is not us. We're going to make some people mad. I'm not going to start guessing who that is.
I thought it was the I don't know. We need to look into that, because there's some wild people with some snakes that are poisonous, and they like go like this with the poisonous snakes, like, and then they're like, "Oh, God is protecting me. If they bite me, they
die." Yeah. No, not that.
Okay. Okay.
Now I go to a non-denominational Christian church, but in college, I took a religion class, and we went through and we learned like all the history and all the different things about all the different religions. And when we were studying Catholicism, I'm like, this is nothing like Christian. Sure, we all believe in God, but from like a religious practice standpoint, it's very, very different.
I agree. Like, even Mass is completely, I mean, yes, I do agree that there's fundamental things that are so different, but I'm always like, I don't know, I just love Jesus, and like, that's what I want. But there are, and like, people will come probably for us saying like, it's not the same. And you're right, it's not the same fundamentally, but I'm like, I'm not here to be like, oh, are you Christian? I'm Jewish. Okay, we can't be friends. Or like, we have so many different things. It's like, I don't know.
Well, I ask you because my grandmother married a Mexican man, and he is extreme Catholic.
Okay.
And it seems to be very cultural for them. Their whole family goes to Mass together. And so my grandmother, who's like in her 80s, is now converting to Catholicism. We're like, wow.
Oh my
That's so crazy.
Good for her. I mean, yeah, everyone has their thing. My boyfriend is nothing, but.
Didn't you tell us last night he works for a Christian school?
Yep.
But he's not religious.
I mean, I like try. I don't want to push anyone because I think that's like the worst thing you could do. But I'm just like, he believes, but he didn't grow up going to church. As we are totally different. I think in Mexico, like there really isn't anything else besides.
Dude, they made us walk to church. We walk to church every Sunday.
God. Yeah, like it's again back to the strictness, right?
Like,
yeah, you have no choice.
Walking.
Exactly. Even if you're hungover, if you get too like nothing, we're gonna be at church. Wow. So I'm just trying to like show him like how amazing life is with Jesus.
I feel like at the end of the day, like we all believe in some sort of higher power, right? And so I think that's kind of what you meant by like,
but like
it's all the same thing, kind of. Yeah. So, okay, I know this is kind of off topic, but last night when we were having dinner, this thing about worms in your poop came up. And I think that I have worms in my poop. And then Anna was like, oh my gosh, I just got the test for that. I want to hear everything.
Wait, the girl at the other side of the table said the exact same thing.
She got the parasite.
I'm telling you, so many people. So our very first podcast, we mentioned worms in the poop and how I thought that
I've never gotten more text messages than I got about people asking me about worms in the poop. I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
It's so common.
I think everyone has them, and you clearly had them, or you just got tested for it. Yes. Tell me everything.
So I was waking up for the last year. I mean, it's true when they say when you get older, your body changes.
Oh, totally.
Like I never understood, but I'm like, okay. So I go to the gym like 3 to 4 times a week. So like I feel like I'm pretty active. Like I'm not 21 anymore, but still, right? I'm like, I'm going to the gym, blah, blah, blah. And I would wake up every morning just bloated. It looked like I was like 6 months pregnant. I mean, I literally, if I showed you right now what I look like, it's like, that's what I look like. I'm like, what's going on with my world? So I finally had to go it was uncomfortable. Like it's uncomfortable to be bloated. Just like you go out in the pool and you're like, I'm not pregnant. Like not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's like, it looks like I'm pregnant. So I had to go get a test. It's disgusting.
But how did you know you needed to go get the test?
Because I was so tired. I was like, I gotta get something done. Like,
wait, you were tired? So there were more symptoms than just you being bloated.
So I'm always tired. The bloating was the number one thing. Yeah, bloating is horrible. And I'm not like, I go to sleep at a normal time. Like I'm not like out partying like I used to be. And I was always tired. Like even during the day I would take naps.
Did you have like brain fog maybe?
Yes, okay. That too. So I was like, what is wrong with me? So, you start like diagnosing yourself on TikTok and you're like, yep, that's me. I don't have health insurance. So I go through what's called like it's doctors who just do it on like a monthly plan. So they charge, a monthly.
Like a subscription based.
Yeah, it's a subscription based. But I don't want to pay for insurance. It's too expensive. So anyways, I went with her and I'm like, this is what's wrong. She's like, oh, we need to do these tests. We need to do like a breathing test and a poop test. And I was like, all right, whatever. At this point, I don't care whatever. It was that or like surgery.
I mean, your dog needs that when he goes to the vet.
Exactly. What's another thing? So $3,000 later.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to walk you through what the poop test.
No, I want to hear
disgusting.
It. Wait, so you poop in like a thing, you send it in.
Yeah, you poop in a thing, but then you gotta like take it out, and there's like different buckets.
Hold on, okay. There's different. You have to take it out yourself.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm gonna throw up talking about.
Wait, the lab doesn't do that? I thought.
Thank you. That's what I thought. She's like, here's all your stuff. Here's a glove. So you poop in this little thing, then you get the poop out, and then you gotta take little things of the poop and
like
put it
ice
in
cream scooping.
Yes, in like different little buckets, and then you put in a thing and you send it to FedEx, and then we'll let you know what's wrong with you.
So have you got the results back
Yes.
yet?
So I have SIBO, which is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth.
Okay.
And it all has to do, and it all like it was. She's like, I've never seen it.
Which
so
is
bad.
what?
So you just have too much bacteria in your small intestine. You're not supposed to have that. So I don't have worms, but I have that.
I'm kind of disappointed.
I'm
kind of disappointed that you don't have worms. I mean, I'm happy for you.
Yes, me too. No, thank God. Okay. And it all comes down to what I eat. Like I can't eat red meat.
Ever?
I mean, I can, but then this is how I wake up.
Okay.
Like, so it can come back. It's just like our food is so processed. And
so
we all
did you
knew
do
that.
like a food allergy test?
I did. And the only thing I'm allergic to is tuna.
That's random.
Yeah.
So random. So it's literally just what we eat in our food. Like sugar is really bad for you. And it doesn't affect everybody the same, right? It's just how your body is. So here I am.
So what are you supposed to do?
Literally change my diet. They call it a Mediterranean diet. They want me to go vegetarian. I'm like, no, I freaking love red meat. So like when I eat red meat, I just have to think of like, what am I doing the next day? I'm going to be in a swimsuit or no? Like I gotta be at home in sweatpants. It sucks, but it's just everything in the food. Like if you actually look at it, like the almond milk,
But
it's
here's
crazy.
the thing. I feel like no matter who you follow on social media, what health and diet book you read, what documentary you watch, it's all different.
Oh, for everybody.
Like, you're supposed to be a vegan, you're supposed to be a vegetarian. Then one of my favorite people to follow on Instagram is like Paul Saladino or something like that. And he's about you eat nothing but like red meat and fruit and raw milk and raw cheese and like, so like all these, and he's a doctor and like has all these statistics behind it. And then we watch the thing about the blue zone, right? That's the trend. All the people who've lived the centenarians.
Yeah, like over 100 years or something.
And so you go through, but they all say something different. So how do you know?
I think that honestly, you have to, everybody's bodies are different. And so like, you know, there's like the blood type diet. So some people think, well, it depends on your blood type, like what your diet should be and how, but I think that you just try a bunch of different things and see what feels best for your own personal body and then do more of that because you know that that's what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
And like you said, you feel like you need to wear sweatpants the next day. Clearly, that's not the food for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I think we do follow whatever, you know, TikTokers say because you're like, oh my gosh, he's a doctor. This is like, but everyone's bodies is so different. The one thing that is not, because I have been learning, I'm not a doctor or anything, is like what we put in our bodies affects everybody different. But like the foods are so processed. I mean, but that's just the life that we live. I don't have like chickens that give me eggs. So but that would probably be the best, right? Like everything organic, everything that you grow, but that's just unsustainable. Like how do you, I mean, for me,
you can do it. It's just expensive.
Yeah.
that's the sad thing.
It's crazy expensive. We go to the farmer's market and buy local, organic, grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And as a household of a ton of kids, and my kids will eat tons of meat if you give it to them. Like going and buying that at the farmer's market gets crazy expensive. Getting the raw organic milk and the organic vegetables, dude, we spend so much money in groceries.
It's too expensive to like live a healthy life, which is crazy. There's like, have you ever seen like the almond milk? I mean, everybody gets it, like the silk. If
We don't get that anymore. We make it. It's so easy.
and it's not even real almond
not real.
milk.
That's
It's
why we
literally
make it.
sugar,
It is.
everything.
It's like
yeah.
barely almonds.
Exactly.
But wait, do you have the almond cow?
Super easy.
Do you have the
What?
almond cow?
No.
How are
it's-
you making it?
All you so you put your
Water.
almonds in
Are you doing
water.
the cheesecloth thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
You put
know
almonds
that
in water.
I have to send you the almond cow because
I keep seeing ads.
What's an
for it.
almond
It's
cow?
like a
Okay.
machine.
It's a machine. It makes it in a minute. And I know because our household goes through a ton of plant-based milk, but it's really cool because you could do it with coconuts, you could do it with or like coconut shreds, you could do it with like so many different
want that.
plant-based, and it's amazing. I'm gonna send you guys the link
Yes,
for it.
please.
Making without that sounds easier, but at home, if you have like a blender, it's super easy. You soak the almonds overnight, and then you put them in the blender, and then you just get cheesecloth,
Okay.
and you pour it and soak out the what's not left, and then the milk comes through the cloth, and that's like it's
That's
so
way
easy.
more work. I've done it both
exactly.
ways.
This is what's wild to me whenever I talk to Heather or you guys, and then I see you guys live like this, like you do so much, and then you still have all these children. I mean, yesterday I told you guys, I'm like, how do you guys do this? And then you're out here making your own milk. Like what? Like I feel like I never have enough time in
My
my
house is a
day.
disaster. My house permanent. I live in like this crazy nice neighborhood in like a $4 million house, and we look like hoarders, and we look like a bomb went off on the
That's
inside of the house.
probably not true.
It is. There's like
It
10
is.
days
I've seen her stories on
There's
Instagram.
like 10 days of laundry piled up.
Yep.
Like
That's good. I'm glad you bring this up.
I
because
like
think-
have to do the dishes at night. Sometimes my husband sometimes does them, but then the housekeeper comes in and like does some dishes. Like it literally doesn't happen. Like my house is a disaster.
But the fact that like you're happy, right? Like that, I feel like people portray, not you. And this is where we go back to like comparing, like, oh my gosh, everyone who's on social media is so perfect. It's like you guys are very extremely successful women, but like you're still running a business, you're still running a household, you're still
I
with
think
your
you have to learn to
spouses.
let some stuff go.
Yeah, you're
And
lacking
I
in
would
certain spots.
love to have a clean house, but I have literally had to decide I don't give a crap.
Okay.
That's the thing that's not happening right now.
Okay.
With 4 little kids at home, it's not happening. My mom was like a psycho freak about our house being clean when I was a kid. Yeah, with as many kids as I have, I've got to let it go. We literally found molded pizza underneath Ariana's bed last week because we had a murder mystery dinner at the house, and the kids took pizza upstairs because the adults
I
were
am
playing the game
dead.
downstairs, and like they come downstairs right before I left for this trip, and there's this pizza with like molded all over it, and they're like, "Mommy, what's this?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, where did that come from?" They had put it under their bed because they didn't want to eat it.
But that's real life.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't, I mean, you do show it, and then you talk about it a lot, but I wish people would actually talk about that, not just be like, it's always glamorous over here.
And I wear pajamas like 98.9% of the time.
Samesies.
Same, me too.
I love it. What time is it?
I'm getting there.
I'm like, I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep
We
going.
can talk about literally anything.
Yeah.
Well, Anna, thank you so much for being here with us today. It has been awesome talking to you about some things are a little bit of business, some things are a little in left field.
Totally.
Which I feel like is all of our conversations every time we talk. But where can people find more about you?
Of course. Thank you for having me. You can find me on my Instagram, Ana KCPA, and I still answer my DMs. So if anyone has questions about anything, I'm happy to like always answer as much as I can. So you can find me there.
Thanks, Anna.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.